Mr. Biggs seek recognition.
I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report the amendment.
I reserve a point of order.
Point of order is reserved.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 7946, offered by Mr. Biggs of Arizona. Page 8.
Without objection, the amendment will be considered as read, and the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes to explain the amendment.
I thank the chair. My amendment requires the Military Family Immigration Advisory Committee and the Secretary to consider the victims of crimes when deciding whether an individual should receive the benefits of this bill. As drafted, the bill focuses only on the deported individual, and the bill does not even mention the potential victims of crimes. We know that most of the individuals who were removed from the country were removed because they committed crimes. If there was a criminal conviction, and if there was a victim, then the advisory committee should be required to consult with the victim, and the victim should have to agree that the individual warrants that the individual deserves an exercise of discretion. In other words, in most states even, we consider restitution, we consider the victim's voice in these matters. So if you've been removed because you've committed a crime against a victim, it'd be my position that the victim should be heard on the issue of reinstatement, if you will. The committee should consider whether the individual has satisfied all obligations, restitution, fines, fees, other obligations associated with the conviction. Similarly, when the Secretary is determining whether or not to waive grounds of inadmissibility, these same requirements should apply. These are basic issues that we should be required to be considered, and I hope all members would recognize that victims of criminal conduct have rights. They have their voice should be considered. And I would, with that, I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman?
The gentleman yields back. Does the gentlelady insist on a point of order?
I do not insist on my point of order.
Point of order is withdrawn.
But I would,
What purpose does the gentlelady from California seek recognition?
to strike the last word in opposition
lady's
to the
recognized.
amendment. You know, I assume there will be a number of amendments, but I think it's important to wrap our heads around this concept. If a U.S. veteran commits an offense, they're going to have consequences. They may be sent to jail, they may have restitution, they may have fines, just as anyone else. The question is, should they have a further penalty, and that is removal from the United States? And I think the concept behind this bill, and that has been embraced by the American Legion, is that for U.S. veterans, people who put their lives on the line, they should have the accountability that anyone else has and not go that additional step further to remove them from the United States. To provide a veto to a victim, or to provide a veto if fines and forfeitures have not been met for someone who's already been removed, goes beyond what we would do for any other veteran of the United States. As a practical matter, if you have been removed from the United States and you are, a veteran sitting in Tijuana and your family is in the United States, your capacity to actually make the money to pay a fine might be severely diminished, just as a practical matter. But the point is, these veterans should be treated just like every other veteran. There should not be an additional penalty imposed for misconduct, which is removal from the country that they signed up to serve, removal from the country they put their lives on the line to serve. They're going to be treated as every other veteran would be treated and not be given the additional penalty of expulsion from the country that they served so bravely for. So this amendment should be rejected, along with any other amendment that tries to do an additional penalty above and beyond the accountability that any other veteran would have. We do not expel, we should not expel from America those individuals who signed up, put their lives on the line to protect our country, period, stop. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentlelady yields back. Does anyone